Mom. Dad is saying something.
My grandson, Henry, said this while staring at my son, John's portrait. The portrait of John, of course, remained still. It was probably Henry's sixth sense kicking in again.
Henry, stop that. Let's go play with Mom over there. Yeah, but Dad is really angry. He said this person pushed me into the street.
We couldn't believe who Henry was pointing at. My name is Kate. I am a housewife in my 60s. I currently live with my husband Sam in the penthouse of a high-rise apartment building. I love the view from our room, especially while enjoying freshly brewed coffee and cookies. The morning sunlight pours in beautifully, and at night, the city lights create a stunning view.
I never imagined we could live like this. I'm really grateful to Sam. Normally, people might hold a champagne glass and nibble on cheese while admiring the night view. But for us, coffee and cookies are just perfect.
We didn't always live this dream life. It's only recently that we could afford such luxury. Sam is now the CEO of a major corporation, but getting there was far from easy. We married in our 20s, both coming from families that couldn't be described as wealthy. We had to earn our own way through life. He worked late every night, while I took part-time cleaning jobs at offices, juggling this with raising our son. We barely made ends meet. I'm sorry for all the hardship. One day, I'll make sure you can live comfortably. Let's keep pushing forward for now.
It's okay. I'll support you. Let's do this together.
Even through tough times, we lived with mutual care and respect. Our little indulgence during those years was occasionally buying cookies and sharing them. Our efforts paid off 8 years ago. Sam, always skilled at his work, was eventually recognized for his dedication and promoted to an executive position. He then left the company to fulfill his dream of starting his own business, eventually becoming its president. Despite his busy schedule, he makes sure to take weekends off, allowing us to spend quality time together. Our relationship has remained strong. Recently, he has been talking about succession planning. Considering his age, he hopes to pass the company to our only son, John, someday. One day, while I was washing dishes, I heard my smartphone ring behind me. I quickly dried my hands and picked up the phone. The caller ID displayed John's name.
Hello? Mom? It's been a while. How have you been? I'm good. It's rare for you to call.
After I said that, John began speaking with a slightly sheepish look.
Actually, there's someone I want to marry. Can I bring her over next time?
The thought of my once little John, now grown up and ready to start his own family, filled me with joy and relief.
Congratulations. Of course, that's fine. I'm looking forward to it.
The day John was bringing his fiancée over, I couldn't calm my nerves.
What should I wear? Does she drink coffee? Maybe she prefers tea?
Seeing me in such a state.
Calm down.
Sam chuckled and said. While I was rushing to prepare, the doorbell rang.
Coming.
After a moment, John and his fiancée entered the house.
Nice to meet you. My name is Mary. Here, please accept this.
Mary handed us a bag from a famous patisserie with a polite gesture.
Thank you. Let's enjoy these together. Coffee sounds perfect.
I mumbled to myself as I brewed the coffee. She had a serene and elegant demeanor, and her speech and manners reflected her sophistication. She worked for a major company and intended to continue working after marriage to avoid placing all the burden on John.
John, she's too good for you. That's not true. Dad, Mom, you should meet Mary's family next time. You're right. Mary, we look forward to getting to know you better.
Our family welcomed their marriage with smiles, and John and Mary looked radiant with happiness. After that, family meetings and wedding preparations proceeded smoothly. Her family consisted of her parents and her younger sister, Karen. Just as I had initially thought, her family seemed refined and well established. Her parents had been running a business for many years. And Karen, like Mary, was a working woman.
Mary, I'm so glad you found such a wonderful person. I hope to have a happy family someday too. For now, my job is my boyfriend.
Mary's family was easy to talk to, and I felt confident we would get along well. Wanting to celebrate their eldest daughter's once-in-a-lifetime wedding grandly, Mary's parents planned a wedding with 300 guests. The costs were honestly quite a challenge, but we shared the same desire to celebrate John. So, we agreed with Mary's parents' wishes. John and Mary were delighted to receive blessings from many relatives and friends.
Mary, I want to be a grandma soon, I said. Mom, we just finished the wedding. It's too soon, John replied.
I was already excited, imagining the grandchildren who would come one day. 2 years later, John and Mary had a child named Henry. He was our first grandchild and an adorable addition to the family.
Henry, it's Grandpa. Henry, it's Karen.
Henry was the darling of everyone, brightening up the room just by being there. During summer vacations and Christmas, John and Mary often brought Henry to visit both Mary's family and our home. Spending time with Henry and having meals together became something I looked forward to. Wrapped in a warm atmosphere, Henry grew up well. However, around the time Henry turned 3, something strange started happening. Henry would say,
What's wrong? Why are you leaving? Henry, there's no one over there. Come back here.
I would say as I pulled Henry back from the empty balcony he was talking to. Puzzled, I asked Mary,
Does this happen often? He seems to be talking to someone who isn't there.
Yes, it's been happening more lately. I got worried and took him to the doctor, but they said there's nothing wrong. Sometimes children with strong spiritual senses show these behaviors. We can only keep an eye on him, Sam added. Henry was adorable, but his peculiar actions gave me an uneasy feeling. Little did I know that Henry's mysterious ability would later lead to a significant event. One day, some time later, I was abruptly woken up in the middle of the night.
Kate! Something terrible has happened.
Sam, who had been sleeping next to me, shook me awake. I slowly lifted my heavy body.
What is it? What's wrong at this hour? Mary just called. John was in a car accident and is in critical condition. What?
I don't remember much after that. Before I knew it, we had arrived at the hospital and rushed to John's room. However, John had already passed away.
John! Please don't leave us. I'm begging you.
Sam and I stood there in disbelief, unable to grasp that this was really happening. Mary clung to Henry, holding his hand as she wept. After a while, the reality of the situation hit me, and an overwhelming sadness took hold.
This can't be real. John, please open your eyes. John!
I cried out, breaking down in Sam's arms. I cried until I had no more tears left. And Sam, too, cried out loud like I had never seen before. In the days that followed, I was unable to do anything and stayed holed up at home. At first, I was too grief-stricken to eat or sleep. While time passed and those around me began to move on, my heart remained hollow. Sam tried to cheer me up by taking me for walks, and Mary and Henry visited to check on me, but I couldn't look forward. Time just passed, leaving me behind. Before I knew it, it was time for John's one-year memorial. Time flies, doesn't it? It feels like just yesterday John was here, so happy, I said. I talked with Mary's parents and Karen, whom I hadn't seen in a while due to my reclusiveness. Losing such a wonderful young man must have been very hard. But I'm sure John is watching over us from above, said Mary's mother. Yes, he was such a bright child. Please let us know if there's anything we can do for you, Karen added. Thank you. But it's Mary who is suffering the most. She looked at John's portrait, saying, The time I spent with John and Henry was truly joyous. John was always someone who would hug us every day. He really was a wonderful person. Mary, you're so loved. It was the first time since the wedding that we had all laughed together. In the peaceful atmosphere, I started to feel a bit more at ease. But then, Henry began to act strangely. He stared intently at John's portrait, looking around restlessly. Yes, yes. Henry muttered to himself.
Henry? I called out. Mom, Dad is saying something.
Henry said, still looking at the portrait. Of course, the image of John remained motionless. Henry's spiritual sensitivity must have been at work again. Or so I thought.
Henry, stop that. Come play with Mom over here, I suggested.
Okay. But Dad is really angry.
Angry? John is angry? Henry, what is John angry about?
Then Henry stood up and pointed to someone, uttering unbelievable words. Dad says it was her who pushed me onto the road. We couldn't believe who Henry was pointing at.
What?
It was Mary's sister, Karen.
Stop joking, Henry. What are you saying? Come on, let's go play over there, Karen said, trying to deflect the tension. No. I'm not going. Dad says I shouldn't get close to Karen. He says she did this to him.
Henry said forcefully. The once calm atmosphere became tense as everyone turned to look at Karen.
Karen, what is he talking about? I asked. Wait. Stop it. Henry, you shouldn't say things like that. Everyone, don't believe a child's words. I feel sick. I'm leaving.
Karen exclaimed, unable to take it anymore. She quickly ran out of the room.
Karen, wait. What's going on?
Confused, everyone followed Karen. We spent hours searching for her, but she was nowhere to be found. We checked the neighborhood park, around the house, and called her repeatedly, but she didn't answer. By the time evening approached, we spotted a small crowd by the riverside nearby. Through the crowd, we saw Karen.
Let me go! Let go of me! Karen screamed.
As we approached, we saw several police officers around her. A police officer noticed us and approached.
She's my sister. What's going on? I asked. We're arresting her on suspicion of murder. What?
The traffic accident that caused John's death had several suspicious points, and the police had been investigating ever since. Although it happened late at night with few witnesses, inconsistencies in the driver's account and discrepancies from the dashcam footage had raised red flags. The police had secretly been treating John's accident as a potential crime, and now they were arresting Karen, his sale, as the suspect. It turned out the police had been monitoring her for some time.
I'm innocent. Let go of me.
Karen yelled as she was taken away, her parents helplessly watching the scene unfold. Seeing her being taken away, everyone stood there in disbelief, as if it were all a bad dream. After Karen's arrest, our hearts were completely exhausted. With John's accident and Karen's arrest, So much had happened in just 1 year. It was no wonder we were all worn out. But why did it have to be Karen, a family member? In the interrogation, Karen said, "When Mary first introduced me to John, I wanted him for myself. I repeatedly told John to leave Mary and be with me, but he never gave me any attention. So, I thought, he should just disappear." Karen's actions, driven by jealousy towards Mary, were selfish and malicious. Knowing this fact left Mary devastated and in a terrible mental state. Losing her husband to her own sister and then having that sister arrested was more than she could bear. Although Karen remained silent after her confession, leaving many details unclear, it was evident that her actions were driven by her own selfish desires. Time passed, but the families had to move forward and live their lives. Eventually, people stopped talking about the incident. One day, as Sam and I were relaxing in the living room, Sam spoke up. "Kate, we're almost in our 70s. I always hoped John would take over the business, but now I think it's time to pass the company to the next generation. How about we take it easy and enjoy our time together? You're still full of energy, Sam. But yes, after everything that's happened, it might be nice to take it easy." Though Sam had always maintained a cheerful demeanor, he must have been exhausted as well. We decided together that Sam would hand over the company to a new successor. A year later.
"Sam, I'll do my best from today. Mary, I'm counting on you."
The company presidency was passed to our DIL, Mary. With this change, our household grew to include Mary and Henry. "Kate, I really appreciate you taking care of Henry. It's all right. You have your work to focus on, and we're happy to spend time with Henry. Lean on us as much as you need. Thank you." With John's death and Karen's arrest, Mary was ridden with guilt and wanted to support us in any way she could. Hearing about Sam's retirement, she volunteered to take over as president. Though there was some opposition from the company, Sam's strong recommendation ensured Mary's appointment. Mary worked diligently, while Sam and I took care of Henry. Almost like raising a second child.
"Grandpa, Grandma, there's a sports day coming up. You have to come and watch." "Of course. We'll make all your favorite foods and cheer you on." "Yeah. Make sure to bring sandwiches. And there's a dance, too. I hope I can do it well."
These moments were filled with happiness. Mary worked hard as the new president, and Sam was finally able to rest, saying,
"I'm glad we entrusted the company to Mary. Now I can truly retire."
The company stabilized, and Sam was finally able to relax. However, our happiness did not last long. Mary began coming home late every night and was frequently away on weekends. Our time together dwindled significantly. Though we occasionally asked her to spend more time at home, she always said she couldn't. "I'm sorry. I have a meeting with clients, so I'll be late. I have a business trip for 3 days, so please take care of Henry." She had been leaving Henry with us without any regard. And the number of nights she came home drunk increased.
"Mary, you're drinking too much. Every single day. You need to think about what you're doing." I said, "It's fine. I'm just entertaining clients. It's part of my job."
She slurred, clearly intoxicated. Sam and I exchanged weary looks inside. Then one day, a company holiday. While spending time in the living room, Henry's peculiar murmurs surfaced again. "Dad, don't be mad. Don't be mad at Mom," Henry said, clutching his ears and frowning in pain. "Henry, are you hearing John's voice again?" I asked. "Yeah. Dad's really angry, but I can't understand what he's saying. Is he angry because Mary comes home drunk every night? No, it's not that. Dad is scary, Henry replied. John was angry. I had a gut feeling that something bad was happening. Worried about Mary's strange behavior, I called a detective agency and requested an investigation into her activities. They looked into her movements. After leaving the house, her supposed business trips, and the restaurants where she had her meetings. A week later, I received the results, which were shocking. Mary had hardly been doing her job as president, instead using company money for her affairs with men. She stayed in luxury hotels, claiming it was for business trips, and charged everything to the company's credit card. She bought numerous luxury items and visited multiple clubs every night, spending large sums of money. But that wasn't all. Mary had been sending company money to her parents, enabling them to live lavishly. Despite running a business, they hadn't been very successful. After Mary became president, they abandoned their work, using the money to buy a new house and cars, living in luxury. Since we rarely visited Mary's parents, we were completely unaware of this situation. Henry's murmurs had indeed been revealing the truth. I quickly called Mary over.
I'm busy with meetings today, so can we make this quick?
She said, her tone dismissive. I showed her the investigation report.
Look at this. What do you think you're doing?
So, you found out. Fine, I'll tell you everything, she said, her face taking on an eerie expression I had never seen before.
The reason I married John was for the money. I heard he was a candidate for president, but he showed no sign of becoming president anytime soon. So I thought it would be faster for me to become president.
Mary continued with more shocking revelations.
And I was the one who ordered Karen to do what she did. I never expected her to get caught. She covered for me and took the blame herself.
That's the truth. My anger boiled over.
Mary, what do you think of John? He died because of you.
The only ones who are terrible are you, Kate.
Flaunting your wealth and your luxurious life. I grew up in a poor family, so I deserve to enjoy this. My parents are happy too,
Mary replied without a hint of remorse. Furious, I shouted.
You and your family are incredibly selfish. You took his life for your desires. You've left us with broken hearts. It's the fault of those who are deceived, she sneered. I can't believe how horrible you've been. Poor John. Mary, today I sever all ties with you. You will step down as president immediately. I'll inform the company later, I declared. Get out now. I'm calling the police. Never come back here again. Pay for your crimes, I yelled.
Mary laughed, and Sam and I handed her over to the police. Soon, they arrived, and Mary was arrested. Her parents were also arrested for receiving stolen company funds. Our family fell into the trap set by Mary and her family, losing our son and company money. Henry lost both his father and mother. He watched as his mother was taken away by the police. Seeing Henry's face, Sam and I vowed to protect him no matter what. Years passed. Despite the continuous misfortunes that had befallen him, Henry grew into a kind and gentle boy.
Grandpa, Grandma, let's take a picture over there, he called out. Sure, under that beautiful tree sounds nice, I replied.
Today was Henry's middle school entrance ceremony. Sam and I officially became Henry's guardians, and the three of us now live peacefully together. Henry's strange murmurs disappeared years ago. We are looking forward to a bright future with Henry. But if anything ever happens again, I hope he will murmur again. so that the three of us can continue to live happily together.